Welcome to week 2 of our fantasy Bachelorette show, 602 Rose Show. I can't believe that as many people watched this trash as did. I was a little surprised, honestly, but here we are, as promised. We'll get into not only what happened, but some of the fantasy recap. We're actually going to do a separate breakout show for season long. So if you're interested in that, that is going to be loaded with spoilers. So we'll do that in a separate show. Here's just as a reminder, just like high level scoring for the weekly league. You don't want to get sent home. You want to get a rose. You want to do things like kiss and cry and confess your love. That's really how the scoring works in general. Here is our current standings in our home league. You can see that number one overall. I'd say by a wide margin, but I think a certain unnamed someone might have stolen my picks after we posted our video, but they can't prove it. And then Megan there in third.
I also want to voice that I really had to stop myself from changing from Will to Joe. So Rick and I ended up seeing one of the previews of this episode beforehand that really convinced me that Joe would probably get more screen time and more points. But I just couldn't bring myself to have the exact same lineup as you. I just couldn't do it.
So saying you got psyched out by the podcast.
No, I don't want to tie you. I want to beat you, and I can't do that by making the same lineup. So.
Well, week 2 is a great opportunity to make up some points. I have not looked at your lineup yet. You sent it my way. I dropped it in here, but I couldn't name any of your people. So we'll see that when we get to the end of the slides here. You will see down at the bottom our Bachelor Nation standings, which are not great. Obviously, top 10 percentile for both of us, but just really not where we wanted to be starting off. I think a perfect score this week was 100. So not a whole lot of ground to make up, but there's a lot of people in between where we are and the top.
Mm-hmm.
Here is Rick. I am wearing my green unbuttoned, no undershirt Rick shirt. I'm gonna try to. Which way is he leaning? He's leaning this way. We're gonna do one of these. I hate Rick still, ongoing, but here's the shirt that I promised I would wear. A man of my word, if nothing else. Had to buy it. Olive green shirts are hard to come by. I think mine's a little bit cooler than his, but we'll get through it together.
Yours has a fun texture with it too.
So before we jump into the eliminations, one thing we wanted to do was talk about. We're calling it our big 3 things. It's a favorite thing that happened in the episode, a least favorite thing that happened in the episode, and that's something that surprised us. So Megan, if you want to start with first your favorite, we'll just go back and forth and work our way through these.
Yeah, and so I got a sneak peek of your big 3 too, and it's funny because I feel like we have some overlap, but we're calling them different things, so we're reacting to them very differently. So my favorite thing was Jamie. I love Jamie. When he came out and when he gave his what was it? That was just fabric until you put it on line. I literally went audible. And then he had his other great line that she smiled the spirit. Ugh, I loved it. He's so cute, and it was great. He was so sweet.
So you kind of alluded to how we overlap a little bit here, and I got Jamie coming up. But my favorite thing is what I'm going to call the fire cucking.
Yeah.
So 2 firefighters, and oh man, it could not have gone. It could not have gone much worse for Daniel. Rides out in his turnout gear, great look. As an open, he scoots around on a little toy fire truck. Comes out, he's got the hat with the siren on it, and great entry. It lets her know immediately that you're fun, you're kind of spunky, and that you're a firefighter, which is one of those sexualized jobs, man in uniform. And whether it was actually immediately following or producer magic that made them go back to back, no sooner is he inside than big ladder truck, blaring sirens and lights flashing, comes up the driveway, and PJ looking like $1 million, not in turnout gear, which kind of surprised me, but in a suit, jumps out of his fire truck, and they cut over to Daniel holding his tiny little hat in his hands with just the saddest look on his face, and the guys around him look so uncomfortable. And that without question, I wrote it down immediately. That was my favorite thing. I was turned off to the rest of the episode for favorite things because the fire cucking was my thing.
Michelle said it. Like even Michelle was like, "Oh, poor Daniel." I was actually watching this episode with a friend, and he had never seen Bachelor, or anything before. And so when that happened, I was like, "Oh, this is so good. This is like exactly what the producers want. Like this is gold."
It's peak Bachelor. My least favorite. I have two on the sheet, and I'm just gonna pick one last second. I'm gonna pick it. It's Caitlyn. I hate Caitlyn. She is my least favorite. I wanted it to be something about the guys, and the more I thought about it, this list was originally 5 items, and it kept narrowing down, narrowing. It's just Caitlyn. I hate Caitlyn. At one point, Clayton had brought out a ruler, a yardstick, and she called it a teacher stick.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't call it a teacher stick because she couldn't think of what it was called. She called it a teacher stick because that's what it's called in her brain. And I know she does podcasts and stuff, and she's never gonna see this, but like Caitlyn to me is just not necessary at all. Give me one host. I don't need the partner in crime. It didn't do it for me. So that's my least favorite.
I know, and you and I disagree about that because you know that I like Caitlyn and I enjoy her genuineness and her personality. So that's okay. We can agree to disagree. So my least favorite part was at the beginning, all of the really, really bad basketball and teacher puns that they made Michelle say. I'm hoping, like, I'm really hoping that like the producers made her say them because they were so bad. Like it was just like 30 seconds, like a minute of just straight puns, and I just couldn't. I was done.
I think we might be in for a lot more of that.
Yeah. Also speaking of, this is like completely side point, but I actually wrote down at one point in my notes is like I feel like every season the Bachelorettes end up saying like bring in the men. And like do they like are they required to say that because it's so dumb?
It's
Like it's
just one of those shticks, and I don't know if you saw in the trailer for the season, all the guys standing on the hill in Minnesota, screaming
screaming.
her name. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I know.
just
I just
one of the things.
okay.
What
Okay.
was your surprise? What was your biggest surprise?
So okay, my surprise was that the drama with Ryan happened in the first episode. Like I really thought that was going to happen later in the season. Like they were going to allow like a connection to build with them and then like throw in this like more dramatic heartbreak with her. So yeah, I was actually really surprised that happened in the first episode.
Pretty good group of guys. They needed to fabricate some type of drama night one, and I guess that's what they went for.
Yeah.
My biggest surprise was Jamie grabbing Michelle immediately. No, as soon as the toast was over, he grabs her and whisks her away. And no, we talked on the previous show about how we liked Jamie, and obviously he was your favorite. I didn't see that type of bold and directness coming that early, if at all. So I was really surprised by that. I really like to see it.
Well, and he was rewarded for it. I mean, he got the first rose in the rose ceremony too, which like clearly means that. I mean, like I know that the order of it like is a little bit fabricated, and I'm sure that there's some kind of like formula to it from the producer standpoint. But yeah, like I thought that like her picking him first showed that connection too, or showed that interest.
One thing I wanted to call out on myself before we move on here. I had listened to the whole thing, the 2 hour thing. If any of you watched all 2 hours of our show, thank you. It was a lot. Michelle did not play basketball at U of M. She did not play at Minnesota. She actually played basketball at Bradley. So that somewhat impacts one of the narratives we were talking about. But news that we learned, on the show kind of spun that in a different direction anyway. So, um, I guess we could touch on Michelle really quick. If you had any like overarching notes about Michelle before we get into the guys here.
I think just like in general, again, like thinking about like what this season might be and kind of again like what type she might be looking for. So like just words I wrote down from when she was talking with her parents are and like how she was describing her parents' relationships are laughter, team, and understanding. And so I feel like those are going to be things that are important to her in terms of like what she's wanting from the guys. Like she's wanting them to make her feel understood, wanting to feel like there's like that mutual reciprocity between them, and then also looking for someone who can have fun and make her laugh and like have that like fun energy. And again, I think that we saw that a little bit um with Matt, right? That they had like these like little bit of moments of goofiness mixed with the seriousness. And so I just kind of like wrote that down as like a note to myself of like these are the type of men that I think will stay longer.
So I guess I'll open with my criticism. It's not really a criticism of Michelle, but her scripted and written parts that the producers have for her sound so scripted and written. It's almost like she has cue cards or she has worked really hard to memorize. I don't know, not everyone can memorize lines, but it feels very cardboard every time she has to do that.
I think that, like, I think, and we talked about this in the last episode, like, I think part of that is because she's so poised. Like, she is so just like put together and confident and has that like stoic nature to her that I think it like, it does sound rehearsed. Because I'm sure, again, that like past seasons, girls also had those same things, but because of their personalities, it didn't feel so scripted.
I get what you're saying. I could see that. I could see that. She is very graceful as well. She killed it.
It's she would be amazing on like a pageant, right? Like because
Yes.
like she's just like royalty, like walking and moving, and like the way that she speaks, like it's very articulate, right? Yeah. So like I feel like some of that scriptedness might be just like the way that she comes across, where she is very like methodical in what she's thinking about and like how she's choosing to portray herself.
The only other note I have for Aunt Michelle, and sorry if it offends her, but she's a bad bitch. She is. I said someone forgot to hit send as the guy who ghosted you is walking away. That's a hell of a dig. And then in the stuff with Ryan, which we'll get into a little more in depth, but I wanted to call out here, you're going to respect that I'm choosing to listen to my red flags is such a powerful statement. There's 100 different ways to say that and get the same thing. And the words that she chose are very powerful. I was very impressed by that piece of that interaction.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know how much drama we will see with her, like with interactions with her. Like I think that we'll see them obviously from previews within the guys, but I think as soon as they get brought into her realm, I think she's gonna cut them real fast.
Hopefully so. That drama only lasts so long.
Yeah, but it gets you hella points when it's there.
Yes, it does. The eliminations. So we're gonna group all these guys together because from a fantasy standpoint, we don't care anymore. They are gone. So we'll save the big one in the middle there for last. Megan, did you have any notes that you wanted to share on any of the guys that were eliminated? I want to call you out really quick because you nailed a couple of these eliminations when we were talking about it. Edward and Garrett. You said were gone almost as your first note on both of them, and then they are indeed gone. And then we got one of our Brandons. You know, we told you guys that there can't be two Brandons, so he's gone, and I think a Chris is coming next here. So
So too. Um, well, and you know, I have to say that I am, you know, an expert at swiping on Tinder nowadays. So I attribute some of that Garrett and Edward acing to that. But no, so I mean, like in general, again, they didn't do much for me even within this episode. I mean, like for Brandon K, I cringed so hard with his entrance of like the New Orleans beads. Like just like it's not gonna fly with Michelle. Like that's not her personality. I was like, it's just creepy. Meh.
and the
Did not.
delivery was horrible.
It was so bad. It
It
was so
took too long to get the joke out, and it needed to be immediate to have a shot.
no, it was so bad. So bad. Um, Brian hated that he dicked her twice. Like both times that he grabbed her for like a conversation, like right when he met her, and then like when they had their one-on-one time, like no, only needs to be done once, doesn't need to be done at all. Um, one of the biggest, okay, second biggest surprise for me in this episode was fucking Jamari's voice. It was so deep, and it did not match his body at all. Every time he spoke, I like had to like catch myself because that. I mean, it's a voice. It is a booming
It's a
voice.
hell of a voice. He's a good looking dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Those are my notes.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I was sad to see Brian go. We kind of talked him up a little bit, so we missed on that one. But I would have liked to see him get a little more time. Um, Maybe Built for Paradise. It depends on how viewership is overall, and then if people respond to him or not. I haven't seen his post week one Instagram growth yet, but we'll check that out. There's some cool resources for that. Maybe I'll drop one of those in the link. So the big one is our boy Ryan. Um, we'll try not to beat this one to death because we're trying to keep these shows a little shorter, but I do have some thoughts on Ryan. I'm going to start by saying this is very clearly a producer setup. I think the notes are his. I think his issues are his. But he told someone.
Yeah.
They don't just go into the rooms and dig around guys' bags and, oh, look what we found, the holy grail of weird dude shit. I think that the producers knew because I think he trusted someone with this information. Um, and we can talk about some of the fallout after we get into our thoughts here. But know that this is how Bachelor Bachelorette works. They didn't just happen to find this guy's notes. It was very much something they knew they were going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I watched the episode late. So I knew the drama that had happened and that it happened during the episode, so I was kind of watching out for it. But even from like the get-go, like even his little like preview segment that they had at the beginning of the episode, I like he just came off as so fake and so full of himself, even within that preview. And in my notes, I just wrote down, just do not believe. Like it just like it felt so fake.
Well, I'll tell you what, that sentiment was echoed
Mhm.
by the world. I was watching live, and Twitter was on fire with
Yeah.
this guy. He triggered a lot of people. A lot of people. I actually spoke with a developmental specialist because I didn't want to bag on this guy too bad if maybe we shouldn't. And all the information I got back was that no, he might be socially awkward, but this is all him. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm blown away by the fact that it existed. Um, from a show standpoint, I thought it was really telling that his story changed 6 times in
Mhm.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, all of these guys do research. All of these guys do homework. I love that the dialogue when they're by the ice cream truck didn't get cut. Um,
Yeah.
she said I can't remember it exactly, but she said something about like liking ice cream, and he's like, I did my homework on you,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, yes, we've seen this. You actually did, or someone did homework.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got some articles pulled up here just for fast reference. This guy's girlfriend, who is way out of his league, his ex-girlfriend is gorgeous. She got on the internet a day later and just tore him apart about how much of a weirdo he was and like this is what he does. Like we used to go on road trips and he'd have like a book of like printed out restaurant reviews and like where to stop and like this is like his thing. Um, and then she calls out like how full of shit he is about not knowing Bachelor Bachelorette. She's like, we watched together. And then it turns out this guy played The Bachelor in San Diego for the stage performance of The Bachelor. So
Incredible.
I'm not
Yeah.
buying any of it, and I'm totally fine with ripping this guy apart. It's creepy. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is he a guy that anyone wants to date right now? No.
Yes, and that's part of what's wrong, I think, with a lot of people is that he's still desirable to very many women.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, okay, like everyone, yeah, I mean, everyone has someone, right? But like, I Ryan, drop me a message. I can get you hooked up with a really great therapist. Even in, rural farm town America, you have therapists. We can work on some control issues and anxiety. Like, we're good.
Like I said, don't want to spend too much time killing the guy, but everyone does research. Not everyone has it in color coded binders that have Bachelorette misspelled. The whole thing was just kind of cringy. And in the drinking game we play at the house, cringes are drinks. And thanks for the buzz, Ryan, because you got me there. But yeah, at the end of the day, they wanted it to be there. It is very clearly not necessarily a
Yeah,
plant, but something the producers put in there. It's
yeah, yeah.
And that's some of the fun of this show is you never know who they're going to turn on. So you kind of, from a fantasy standpoint, you have to read these narratives, and you're starting to see in the previews some of these guys are going to fight, and so there's plus sides and minus sides to that. But be looking for those threads. Like you said, Megan, it was surprising it came up so quickly. Um,
Yeah.
but those are the things to look for. Nothing they show you is for nothing. Everything
Mhm.
you see is something you can exploit for fantasy points later down the road.
Yeah.
So we'll jump into the guys now. And I have changed out all the pictures. Megan sent me this overly sexualized Instagram post where I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the Bachelor Instagram accounts that covers everything, and he had gone through, and so I stole those outright. So I will link the Instagram account in the comments because all I did was go through and take the exact same pictures. So we have overly sexualized pictures of all the men now instead of their
Which
headshots.
are better, way better.
I mean, Megan, I know you don't have it up in front of you, but I'm looking at Alec right now, and this dude has a 10 pack. He is chiseled.
I just, yeah, but like, I just don't like Alec. that
I mean, so his.
was a really bad first example because I just really don't like his look.
Well, I
Like,
did.
all I have in my notes about him from this episode is dislike. That's it. That's all I
I
have.
have no notes at all, so I'm right with you there. But I carried over the bullet points. And Alec, who loves to read GQ magazine, this
He looks
picture is lifted from the pages of GQ. He looks great. So yeah, we both have nothing about Alex, so we will move on. Uh,
keep going.
Brandon Jay is looking great in his basketball getup. He doesn't look 16 in this picture. Do you have anything on Brandon?
Yeah. This little baby boy, he feels so young to me. So young. Yeah. Yeah. No, he just feels super young. I did not love the bed entrance. It felt a little skeevy. I didn't love it. Um, I did appreciate that he talked about like early struggle already, like first night. I think Michelle really enjoyed that. When she asked him to name the three traits that he would use to describe himself, baby boy, fun, truthful, and caring. Like, I know she put you on the spot, but we can do better. Just like have some confidence. You know you're gold.
But they're not bad adjectives. At least he didn't. At least he didn't fail in the assignment. I don't think the teacher would have enjoyed it. Did not complete.
Yeah. And at least they're like characteristics. But like,
That's the only
eh,
teacher pun I'm gonna make. I swear.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's clear. Like, I think that she likes him. But yeah, he felt. I was surprised at how young he felt.
Okay, he's 26. So on the younger end for some of these guys. But yeah, it certainly looked that way in a crowd. He certainly has that baby face going for him. Casey, who on the other end of the spectrum is just ancient. Uh, you have anything on Casey?
I don't know. I don't remember what he did honestly, but all I have written down is ew handshake. So I don't know what that refers to. I'm guessing it's something with his entrance. Because he didn't really do anything else the rest of the episode. But he did something that made me go ew. So
So everyone watching can see this, but Megan, for your benefit, his new picture is a gym selfie
Mhm.
where he's holding his phone with both hands like this so that he can simultaneously flex both arms,
Yeah.
um, which I feel is on brand for Casey. I didn't have any big takeaways. He really didn't stand out too much to me. Um, so I guess we'll just move on to Chris G, who said kilometers per hour, or like driving many kilometers. He's Canadian,
Yeah.
but like that's not okay, Chris
Yeah.
G. It was weird for me. You made me uncomfortable with your metric system, and I get that 95% of the world uses the metric system, but I don't need to hear about your kilometers. I'm trying to do math in my head instead of watching The Bachelorette.
I have to say that, like it was during his like little promo, that the hostess was like knocked on the door. And I was like, yeah, like I called it. Like he and Caitlin are gonna have this like Canadian chat, and then they were just like snooping in his room, and I was like, well, okay, not quite. So he really burst my bubble there. Um, so again, I have to give recognition to my friend who was sitting next to me, because I told him that we were doing this podcast and stuff, and so I was just like watching, and he looks at me and he goes, all I can say is he seems very beta. And he's a motivational speaker, and like he does. So,
So
yeah.
I didn't see it until I put up the picture that I have now, which is like him on a beach holding a football. He looks like Canadian Jordan Davis, uh, and I'm not really here for it.
Yeah.
I did want to call back to something you said. Chris's room got raided as well. Do you think they raided everyone's room,
No.
or
So so
raided
so they
Chris's room so that they could do the Ryan thing?
so they rated Chris's room, they rated Ryan's, and then they rated and maybe Spencer's, I think.
Well, that's what they showed. But do you think that they
Yeah.
raided everyone's room?
No. So when they were talking to Michelle about it, they said we went to some guy's rooms. And so like they actually they gave it away by saying that they didn't go to everyone's room. And so also like the chances that they went to one person's room that ended up like having shit, like
Right.
there's no way.
So, what
But
do you think Chris and Spencer had in their applications that made them think they should also check their bags?
um honestly, like I do I mean I wonder if they just did something to piss off the producers. The producers were just like, go fuck with them. Go make them anxious, right?
Yeah,
But
I
like
fair.
it's like room raiders, but like
The
they're
Reddit, Instagram, Twitter crowd that follows the Bachelor really closely, they call them the powers that be, and that is the overarching term for what used to be Chris Harrison, his minions, and is now the minions running the show. And yeah, Tasha's there. I'm not
yeah.
blaming Tasha for anything; she's an angel. Chris S., who replaced his boring, bland headshot with the sexiest photo anyone on the internet could find of him, which is a boring, bland headshot.
I want to hear your opinion first on Krista.
So I had no opinion until we got to the season preview, the preview at the end of the episode, where he is taking a stance in an interview, right? Not in front of guys or anything, but talking with very strong language, not strong language, strong words. He uses his words in a powerful way to talk about how Michelle is feeling about a certain situation,
Mm-hmm.
um, which felt very out of character for him to the point where I had to go back and look at some of the
Mm-hmm.
interactions, and I'm not sure what it is. It feels like it feels to me like he's not going to be around for very long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think it's attrition and not a decision. I think it won't be going home because Michelle doesn't like him. I think he's going to go home because someone has to. There's more to Chris S than I've seen, and I'm not sure we will get to see it.
So I don't know. I get a really disingenuine vibe from him. Like I again, my quick notes myself, like I wrote down first impression, like off of his preview, right? From which is like him at home. I wrote down hate. I thought that he was just like really like corny in a bad way, like not like in like a cute way. Like it just like it felt so over the top and like bravado and like this like personality that did not feel real at all. And I did not like him.
I think these millennial guys, we're built and conditioned in a way that's not going to work for Michelle.
Mhm.
What you just spoke about, that bravado, false or not, and that honed and refined personality, it works. It
Yeah.
doesn't work to get married, right? It doesn't work for your long term, but to casually date girls on Tinder, it works and it works really, really well. And I think we're
Okay.
gonna see that kind of pull itself out of the system because Michelle is not that.
No, and she's gonna call it out.
Well,
She is not gonna tolerate it.
I'll save the second half of this comment, but
Okay.
when we get to Joe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the statement I just made isn't true. It seems that Michelle is self-aware enough to not fall for that false bravado thing. I'll leave it there on Chris.
Yeah, so I think Joe's doing a different game.
So we'll get to Joe. We're gonna continue going alphabetically here.
Yeah.
Clayton up next, and Clayton's picture that I pulled off his Instagram site makes me very uncomfortable. It's a I'll Megan, I won't ruin it for you. Go back and when you rewatch our show, you can see it. Obviously, everyone watching can see it now. I didn't pick this. It's not even like the top of his head's cropped out. It all right, it's Clayton. What do you have on Clayton?
Um, so I have I mean, he didn't do much this episode, right? Like he didn't get much screen time, like there were just a lot of other people. I wrote down that she did not love the butt smack. Like she thought that the teacher stick was a nice gimmick, like she loved that. But the fact that he then made her smack his ass on national television, she did not like that.
I
Uh,
got the same vibe. Um,
yeah,
like
yeah.
into it, like, oh, this is funny. It looked great in the
It's
suit,
cute.
and she was feeling it. And then, yeah, I think it kind of fell out
Mhm.
when he offered the one free smack.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about that, and hat tip to the Twitter person who posted it. I think I retweeted it, but I'll never find it again. Uh, that ass did not move. It wasn't a hard smack, but there was zero movement. Those are buns of steel.
Well, but she also barely hit him because she was not into it. She didn't want to be doing it. And I get that. Like I 100% get that. Like coming from a teacher, like you're up here on national TV, first time you've met this guy, right? He's what, the third or fourth person out of the limo? Like that's not the time and place to be doing it, especially knowing Michelle, right? If you're here for Michelle, you know that's not going to fly with her. Like that's not her type of humor. It's not her type of fun. And like that probably made her like I'm sure she did not like that.
Does the teacher stick make another appearance?
Depends on how far he goes, I think.
And we'll get to that kind of discussion if you watch our other show about season long. Yeah, I didn't really have anything else on Clayton. Like you said, he didn't have a whole lot of screen time night one.
Yeah.
Daniel, Daniel the firefighter, who now his photo now is this he's leaning on the front bumper of a squad. It looks like, and all smug, arms crossed, looking great. Um, Again, the fire cucking I will remember forever. Some of the intros are so good. That one, I hope that so the producers know what everyone's doing. I hope they actually did them in order, like it was aired, because
I
it's
mean,
amazing.
I feel like they had to, like, given Michelle's comment of, "Oh, I feel so bad for Daniel," or "Oh God, Daniel," like I feel like it was pretty close up to back to back.
Had to have been.
Yeah,
Good looking guy. I thought he carried himself well. I didn't have any major takeaways for him.
I didn't have anything honestly, other than yeah, laughing at his fire truck.
So then we'll move on really quick to one I know you are going to have some thoughts on. We got Jamie here.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I kind of said it earlier, but I like Jamie. I think she really likes him. Just like the way that she talked about him was way different than the way she talked about anyone else. And like it's much more for her versus like other people who maybe there's more of that like physical chemistry. Like for her, it seems like there is like this like emotional connection with him already, where she just really likes his vibe. Like she likes being in his presence, right? Like if there's like a comfort and a positivity that just feels really nice to her. So
Yeah, I was really
yeah,
surprised that he jumped out as early as he did.
yeah,
Like I said, that took me a little off guard. He even after his introduction, he felt passive.
yeah,
So it was really interesting to see him kind of jump out of that box and be an aggressor, really, and do so in a really respectful manner. And he's really soft spoken with her. I'm interested to see where Jamie goes.
absolutely. Me too. Yeah, and we can get to that during the season long too, because I have some questions about that actually. But
Again, season long, loaded with spoilers. This one we're only going to try to spoil like week to week. Uh, Joe,
you're watching.
who, if you want to go first on Joe, I will let you. I'm going to have some language for Joe that is not appropriate for children's ears, though. I do have to tell you that.
So Joe again, okay, so the way that they put him at first, there's a lot of similarities in life, right? We have the sport aspect, we have the family aspect, we have the Minnesota aspect. Like on paper, they look like they're good matches. Um, I think the game that might be being played here is not so much the bravado, but more this idea of that like she's thrown off by him and like there's this almost like a chase happening, right? That he's kind of set it up where he's kind of this like mysterious thing that she wants to get to know and wants to figure out. And so I think it's a different game than what Chris S is playing, and that's why I think it might work a little bit more.
So I am inclined to believe that her reaction was genuine. However edited it might have been, I don't think they told her he was coming.
Yeah, I agree.
So all of my notes are in shorthand. I wrote two sentences, one sentence out completely. It says this guy is a slime ball, but fuck, he's got nice eyes. His eyes are incredible, piercing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I went down a rabbit hole on Joe today. So this will be my spoiler notice for this episode. Jump ahead about a minute if you don't want any spoilers. Um, he's a liar. If you believe random people on the internet, that Instagram, Reddit, Facebook, he allegedly the ghosting and blaming George Floyd thing is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you are not emotionally and relationship available because of social things that are going on, which is totally legitimate,
Mm-hmm.
you say that. Just say that. Playing it off to the other black girl who's also from the same place, like that's bullshit.
Yeah,
But what the internet is saying is that this dude was dating multiple girls during the same time frame and playing these games, and
yeah.
I'm inclined to believe it. The little sly look, like, did I slide in your DMs? And he gives her like that look. Joe's a slime ball. I don't have another word for it.
Like I am not denying that, and I 100% think that he's a player. Like I said, I think he's playing a different game, and I think it's a different game than maybe we've seen explicitly played on The Bachelorette so far. And so I'm interested to see how it plays with Michelle. Like I am, I'm interested to see how she handled it because she handled the ghosting really nicely and like really assertively. Um, so yeah, I'm interested.
I'm so excited from a fantasy standpoint because the potential I see for a gaslighter like this is
Mhm.
he'll kiss her and then he'll break down about like a past relationship, and those are both points. And then when she
Mhm.
calls him on his bullshit, he's gonna cry.
Mhm.
Oh, the points potential here is massive. Like gaslighters are huge for
Yeah.
fantasy
Well,
Bachelor Bachelorette.
there's other guys getting on it then too and start causing drama in the
And he'll
house.
fight with them, and we've already got the narrative going where we've seen the
Mhm.
preview. The guy's talking about, well, did she know him ahead of like these fantasy gold? So if you don't have Joe in your fantasy lineups, you're doing something wrong. For as long as he is here,
Yep.
or until they resolve their relationship conflict, he's gold.
Yep.
You got to have him.
Yep.
Um, Leroy, who I want to open on because The
Yeah.
Polaroid thing
Yeah.
is so awesome. So
Yeah.
awesome because what if she picks you? What if she
Yeah.
picks you? Right? So you're gonna have all these ABC quality photos of the first time you guys met. There's not a single guy in the house who has candid Polaroids of the first time he met his wife.
Yeah.
So if he goes all the way, that is the single best intro I've ever seen,
Yeah.
and so simple.
Yeah.
And everyone else over the top or doing cringy stuff, and he's like, "Hey, like, let's take a picture so that we have it for our wedding scrapbook." And it's like, "Yes, this is
Well,
awesome."
and again, like it caters so nicely to Michelle, right? It's so nice for Michelle.
So that's the only note I had on Leroy.
And that's why I didn't have anything on him. So yeah.
LT, who Megan, you'll see, and everyone gets to see now, his picture that we changed him out for makes him not look like a creepy 38-year-old yoga instructor. It makes him look like uh, Canadian Dirks Bentley playing piano. And it's a wonderful picture. Like looking at this, I can see now why they put him on the show. Looking at everything else I've seen of LT,
Yeah.
I have no clue why he's on this show, but this picture.
Like he showed up in his little I don't even know. Was it a swimsuit or like just like a good banana hammock? Like I don't know.
I think
But like
so it classified as a swimsuit in the independent scoring that we use for season long, which
yeah.
is a Facebook group that does scoring. They did call it a swimsuit. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Showed up, didn't impress me.
that's all I've got. I mean, it takes.
Yeah.
I'm, I mean,
Yeah.
sorry for the bad pun in advance, but it takes some balls to wear bikini
Yeah.
briefs in a group of guys you're meeting for the first time. I mean, that takes a level of self awareness that maybe will translate into the show. I'm not seeing it with LT.
Yeah. Well, we had that conversation about him last episode too. That was going to be either like hit or miss with him.
Well, maybe some points there somewhere. I don't see him lasting very long.
Yeah.
Uh, so not Martine, as I suppose it makes me maybe not a
Yeah.
great person to assume it was Martine, but he introduced himself as Martin. So this is bleach blonde Martin, who is now in a
Yeah.
cutoff flannel for his shirt.
Which I feel like fits his vibe much better. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get like the like world traveler, foreigner in the states kind of vibe, and it wasn't. You were dead on with your analysis. He's very bro. He's very pro.
But again, like there's something. Well, I guess we can talk about this in the season long because I don't want to give too many spoilers. But like we do see it in like the season long like preview, right? That they show at the end of the episode. I mean, like he gets a one-on-one. Like so, like there's something there that Michelle likes. So like I am very interested to see what it is because again, from my first look at him when I first like saw the first preview, I was like, there's no way this guy's sticking around. Like so, yeah, I don't know.
So after Martin is his brother in hair, Malik, who also has the frosted tips here,
Yeah, and
wearing overalls pulled down on a boat is his new picture. So it's a good look. It's a really good look. I had
yeah,
no notes on Malik. He kind of
yeah,
just was there,
yeah,
and I'm not sure he's going to be there for much longer if he doesn't do something to set himself apart. Again, I mean, you saw the sun coming up for the rose ceremony. There is 12 hours of footage. So the fact that we didn't see Malik do anything interesting is a producer choice. I'm sure he did
yeah.
something in 12 hours. He didn't just sit around. Yeah, he didn't get sent home like Wingman Edward, so he's still around. Next up, maybe one that we're going to talk about for a little bit longer. We got Nate.
Yeah. She likes him.
Yeah,
She really like from the moment he got out of that limo. And so you and I had gone back and forth. We had sent a couple of Instagram posts on some data that's been collected about like kind of order out of the limo and like whether or not that matters for like first impression rows versus like sticking around for like top four and things like that. And so just knowing that he was the first one out of the limo and now first one to get the first impression rows is important, right? Like that suggests that yeah, there's something about him that's going to keep him around. And so again, as you mentioned, he's probably one that you want on your lineup, like from here on out. because he's going to do something probably every week, whether like even if it's just like one kiss, right? Like he's gonna do something.
That's a great call out. And just from a little bit of a look ahead standpoint, talk strategy really quickly. As Megan said, you want guys like this in your lineup. Anyone you think is a front runner, you want to have them. No, you get to pick six in daily. If one of your six isn't a front runner, you're either brilliant or you're doing something wrong because it's one kiss, it's one conversation. Even if he doesn't go on a date, you're gonna have that rose ceremony, and you best believe that your front runners are gonna take time. And that's one of the things that stood out for me immediately about Nate. After all the Ryan shit, she comes down and she's like, "If you're not here for the right reasons, which is again is one of our drinking triggers." So this episode was brutal with it because it's like Ryan studied the playbook on my drinking game, um, and Nate was there immediately. She finishes that conversation, and Nate is there, and he goes and he has immediately a vulnerable conversation, a very vulnerable conversation. And he talks about what love looks like to him, and he gets that kiss.
Yeah,
And you could not have, even with Ryan's binder, you couldn't have had a better playbook for how to roll that situation. He
yeah,
is so ingrained in her mind after night one. Obviously, he gets the first impression rose,
mhm,
but it's more than that. She kissed him. He was there when she was feeling down. I mean, there's so much positive reinforcement going on there from a relationship standpoint that you can't fabricate.
she asked him to open up. He did.
It's gold. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty much all my notes on Nate. He took the
yeah,
perfect
he,
opportunity and he converted on it at 100%. You
yeah,
could not have done that better.
yeah.
Olu, which is how he referred to himself, and now so how I'm going to refer to him because I butchered his name. I thought I was doing a good thing, and I was very wrong. So Olu.
He didn't really get much screen time.
No, I was kind of surprised by how much of the preview he got.
Mhm.
So something to watch, but in intangible footage, I didn't get really anything on him.
Yeah.
Pardeep.
I mean, he's like a cutie. I feel like I don't know if he belongs on the Bachelorette. Like not in like a looks way, but like just like a sweet baby angel way, where it's just like I don't know if you're ready for it.
I think Pardeep might be funny.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I think that he's like a nerdy, funny like guy. Like
like
I think that
like if he hangs out for a while, he's gonna be the guy at the house that all the guys are opening up to.
yeah, 100%. Like and he's gonna like America's gonna fall in love with him. Because yeah, he's just like this like sweet baby angel. He's like a little bit nerdy and like, oh my god, I can't.
So I did
Yeah.
see he posted on Instagram. I did not verify his claim, but he posted on Instagram that he's the first Indian American to get a rose
Okay.
on the Bachelorette franchise or the Bachelor franchise, all shows.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
hey, hell yeah,
Yeah.
we're talking about inclusiveness, and I know we see it manifest itself a lot of times in black and white.
Mhm.
But hey, Pardeep's out here, and I like Pardeep. I think he
Yeah.
might be some fun coming up here.
Yeah.
Pizza Pete. We decided we weren't going to do nicknames, but Pizza Pete is just a perfect split from Pilot Pete.
Yeah.
And I don't like Peter.
You don't like him?
I don't like him, and he also dropped that pizza
Yeah, I didn't go pick it up.
like dough down. Well, I mean that's what the producers are for, right? That's probably what he's thinking. He's a pizzapreneur. Okay, he's not a
Yeah.
pizza picker upper.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't like him either. I think he feels like one of the guys who like he has that personality for drama, right? And so I think that the points that he's going to get, I could see him having some connection with Michelle, her family, right? Because he's mentioned a couple times now he's got that like Italian American, and if we can like bridge with that, like that family connection, and then yeah, I think he has some sass to him. I think it's going to be in some drama.
The picture that's up on the screen right now. Again, I didn't pick these. I just shamelessly stole all the ones that this account had posted, and they posted asking for help finding better pictures because some of these guys, the way Bachelor works is once you're on the show, your Instagram goes unlock.
Yeah.
Um, it's just one of the things they do. Not a great picture. I don't like how much footage Peter has. We'll keep
Mhm.
an eye on it from a fantasy standpoint, but I just don't like him as a contestant or as a person. As horrible as that
Yeah.
sounds, I've seen 5 minutes of this guy on TV, but I'm not buying it. Now, next one up here, on the other hand, PJ. I made this comment to the people I was watching with, and I'm going to repeat it here because I thought it was pretty clever. This guy has swagger and looks like Denzel Washington and Slim from 112 had a baby. He is so much. I'm in love with PJ.
Yeah.
From the fire cucking to just the whole vibe, I'm so into it. I have a feeling he doesn't last real long because I'm not sure Michelle is vibing what I'm vibing, which is probably a good thing. But
You just want to be like best friends with him.
every
I,
day we'd hang out every day.
yeah, no, I feel like I don't like, yeah, his look makes him feel like he's gonna have such a fun personality. And I really hope that holds up because we haven't really like gotten a vibe for his personality yet, right? Like again, we only really saw him for his intro. And so I'm super excited to like get to know him more and like to see anything from him that isn't him getting out of a fire truck.
In my mental head canon, he knew that he was the follow up fire truck, and he chose that path.
I mean, those are the big balls that LT wanted or needed.
Yes, yes. Next up is Rick, whose picture is just this smoldering black and white model shoot pic.
Yeah.
So there's the compliment I just gave him. The only note I have for Rick is says I hate this guy so much.
Yeah. Okay, I have several notes on him. I think he goes pretty far, and here's why. So one, initial reaction to his gimmick, she loved. Like she thought it was really cute and unique. And then once he actually got out of the cart, he did something that is so important for contestants on the show to do, which is to become the Bachelor or Bachelorette person for something, their go-to person for something. And he said, it's really important for me to laugh in relationships. So if you ever need a laugh, you come to me. Or you think about me being here in this cart in the first time we met, because I just want to laugh with you and I want to feed you. So he is going to be, but he's going to be that guy. Like whenever she laughs, or whenever she's having a bad day, and she's like, "Oh God, like I could really use someone to laugh with," he's going to pop into her head. Like he made that connection, and that's so important.
And she seemed really into him. And so objectively, not a bad looking guy. I think he went a little heavy on the eyeliner night one. But it's a look. It's a look. Once he was out of the service cart, um, I didn't mind it as much.
Yeah,
I think if we hadn't just dealt with James in a box, I would have been more receptive to the cart gig.
yeah,
It felt real try hard. It felt really derivative after seeing Box James, but I think on its own, not bad. Like you said, it worked. She liked it.
mm-hmm.
I appreciate there's one shot right after the toast. He was still on the table during the toast, and there's a guy tipping him a drink so he could take a drink. So yeah, I appreciate the commitment to a bit. And like you, I think he hangs around for a while. On the preview, we saw some one-on-one date footage that's coming up here. Um, I'm interested to see where it goes. I will not wear this shirt again. I think I might have one too many buttons for Flair over there. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes from a fantasy standpoint. I do not like him for her, and I don't like him for me. Yeah, I'm not in love like I am with PJ. Uh, Next up is Rodney, who, aside from not knowing what color certain apples are, I felt like I had a pretty strong night. I had a strong open and engaged her in a way where she named more apple variants than I think I knew existed. But she's
Also,
obviously into apples.
she called him a healthy little snack.
And for those of you following along at home, it is better to be called a healthy little snack by a woman than to not be called a healthy little snack. So that's that's a big plus. So
Yeah,
uh,
you go, Rodney.
the picture that was selected from Instagram for this, he still doesn't have a whole lot of a neck, but it looks like in this picture because he's a little more muscular. And then that's kind of what we saw on the show. He's a big dude.
He is. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see him like in real clothes and not an Apple suit. But
I'm excited to see him in yeah, just like a jeans and a t-shirt kind of look, and a suit. I'd like to see
yeah,
him in a suit at some point here, and I'm sure we will at a cocktail party or something. But
and I'm pretty sure you get to see him naked too. So I mean, I think you get all the
yeah,
variants.
I mean, Rodney might be just a clothing change guy. He's got different outfits for every mood.
Nothing
Uh,
wrong with that.
Not at all, not a thing wrong. Next up is Romeo, and I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit. I think if your name is Romeo, I only get half points because like the Romeo and Juliet shit was coming. The
So,
French was a twist. I was not expecting French. Um, I don't know. I couldn't get a read off Michelle in the moment if she cared.
I don't
He's
think so.
obviously still here. He got a rose. He played way better with the guys than he did in his own intro. Um,
He did.
but the Romeo and Juliet bullshit,
I hated it. It was
it
gross.
was
Really
inevitable.
gross. Yeah, it was so played out. But he's a good-looking guy. And so yeah, he stuck around. So let's see if he's more than just Romeo.
I am curious to see how many languages he knows, because one of his fun facts was that he studied Japanese for 3 years in college. Obviously, he
Interesting.
speaks. It sounded like pretty good French. I don't know how many phrases he knows, but even if that's the only phrase he knows, it sounded good.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how many languages Romeo knows. Maybe we'll get some more.
Yeah.
Next up is Spencer, who I didn't get much on. I wasn't horribly impressed. I wasn't horribly turned off. He was just kind of around.
Yeah. That's how I felt.
Move right on then. Will,
Mm-hmm.
who his new picture, dude looks great in a tight fitting pink shirt. Um, we see some footage in the preview of some drama he's going to get into. My favorite part of the preview. If you haven't gone and watched it, he's got a moment where he's hella frustrated with somebody, and he gets a little emotional. And I'm not gonna embarrass myself by repeating the phrase, but it's pretty good. Watch the preview if you didn't at the end of the episode. Will gets a little worked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have anything more to expand on with Will.
He disappointed me.
Good looking guy.
I know.
Good looking guy, but you got to bring something else to the table at some point. But again, the drama is points if you can harness it correctly. And if it's an episode where they go home, if there's enough drama to offset it, they're usually worth a start. You want to get into that. And weekly the scoring is a little bit different, so obviously make sure you know your scoring system. But be on the lookout for that. So next up here, I've got the pricing for weekly for week 2. This is the week to week pricing. So you'll see this up on the screen. You got to build a team of 6 out of 100 roses. No real surprises for me here, Megan. The algorithm is the guys that got screen time and scored points the previous week are priced the highest the next week. So it's
Yeah.
really about looking ahead and seeing what kind of value grabs you can get, because you usually aren't able to just grab all your top scorers. Now, I think this week you could have. I think you could have gone top five. I think they're 20 apiece here, as I'm seeing on the screen. Um, but that's not always necessarily indicative of what's going to happen coming up. So, from a general scoring standpoint, what you want to do is you want the one-on-one dates because those are worth points. It's a lot of screen time. Um, if you can find the information on the internet, you want the group date winners. You want the guys who win the group date. You want the guys who get the rows for the group date rows, and you want to avoid people getting sent home. So those are the big keys week to week. Those are really what you're looking for. Some great resources for that is episode descriptions, which unfortunately it's 5 o'clock on Friday right now. There is not an episode description out yet. You want the episode previews from the previous episode, but you also want the previews they dropped throughout the week. So as of filming, they've only dropped one group date, nothing else. So we know who's on a group date. Which this early in the season, there's usually one-on-one and two group dates. So it informs you a little bit, but you got to go ahead and do some digging to get the rest. But that's really what you're looking for from a fantasy standpoint. You want to maximize your points. Roses are safe points. Assume that screen time means points. So you really want the guys that win the group dates. You want the guys who are on those one-on-ones, and you want guys that aren't going home. So next up here we have our lineups for week 2. And they're pretty close together. And again, at time of post, right now it's 5 o'clock on Friday. This is based on the best information we have. So if we make changes, we will of course address that either on Instagram or on next week's video. Megan, you want to go ahead with your lineup?
Yeah, let's see if because I didn't actually write it down because I just like plugged it in. So let's see if I guessed correctly who I chose.
All right. Well, we can all see it. So
let's see. Okay. So I actually maybe got some additional information that you don't have because I was scouring Instagram, and I guessed what the second group date might be based off of what I know about the seasons. So, and knowing who was on the group date that we had already got a preview from. So I think I know, and I think I know like what team wins that one. So I actually chose my lineup based off of this information. So anyway, from the preview, I chose Brandon and Casey from the school group date. Mostly because there is a preview out there that basically shows Brandon looking real dumb. like
real dumb. They did him dirty.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of questions wrong. And I think it's gonna like hit like a little bit of a soft spot with Michelle. I think that she's gonna like want to talk with him after that. And then
I'm sorry, Megan, did you say tutor or talk?
I mean both. And then there's a shot of Casey looking like there might be like some drama happening, and he's kind of like leaning over it. And so I'm wondering if he's going to be part of the drama that's happening. And so he's one that I might end up switching out because I'm not quite sure where he falls. From other different sources, it looks like Jamie gets the one-on-one, so I have Jamie in there. And then from again the second group date, I ended up choosing, I believe, Nate, Rodney, and Martin.
So Martin, Martin, Rick, and Peter are your final 3.
Who? No. So Peter, Martin,
and Rick.
Really? What am I doing? Okay. Well, that might be changing.
See, now you know Megan's lineup's no good at all.
Now you know that I just like plugged it in and put it together. Okay. Well.
So Megan will absolutely have a follow-up.
I like the lineup that I just chose better. I think I might go with that one. Because yeah, I could see Rodney potentially. If it's the group date that I think it is, and he's on the winning team, I could see him potentially getting the group date rose just because he's a sweetheart and she seems like to have this connection with him. And if he opens up at all, and if there is that connection, I could see her giving it to him. Because I don't think that she would give it to Nate, and I don't know how the other guys would play off of that I suspect are on this group date.
So look for Megan's official lineup in the comments. And I'll jump over to mine where I have Brandon and Casey from the early date because Brandon looks like an idiot and looks like Casey might get into something. I have Jamie because we have heard that Jamie has the one-on-one, and again, that's really valuable from a fantasy standpoint. I have Rodney for a lot of the reasons Megan just talked about. You know, even though if you're looking at the screen, not in Megan's lineup.
But Megan
Uh,
also can't see the lineups right
I
now.
took Rick because I feel like there has to be something that happens consistently for him to gain some ground. So I want him in my lineup right now, as we don't have a whole lot of other information. Um, and then I have Nate for the reasons we talked about earlier. He's a front runner. I didn't have a sixth that I felt strongly about, and so my load here for my lineup, left to right, is the order I picked them in. So Nate was very much my number six. I didn't have another guy I felt strongly about. I know Nate's around for a while. We've seen him on one-on-ones in footage, and I know that he doesn't have the one-on-one this week, which means he makes it through. So at the very least, I have a rose from Nate, and then I'm hoping that if he doesn't do well in a group date, he'll make that time for himself the way we saw in the first episode. And so really that's really what you're looking for from a fantasy standpoint is a lot of things we just talked about. You want to capitalize on those dates and you want to use the information you have about the season to make informed guesses, right? You're not just picking out of the dark. Um,
Yeah.
so those are
And
our go ahead.
I would say that I believe I chose Peter too because so one of the season long previews shows him and it's so Will is getting into it with Peter on that group date that you're talking about. And so knowing that they're both on the same group date this week and that drama happens in a group date context, I had chosen Peter because I believe that he ends up getting a rose post that drama.
Yeah. So I mean that's really draw from your resources and again Instagram and Twitter and Reddit and Facebook. Um,
Some random China website.
It's fine if you don't want to spoil it for yourself. But again, this show, we are committed to presenting everything from a fantasy standpoint. And it is a taped show. This is all over already. So any information you can get week to week to help you win is really what you're looking for. If you're a purist and you want to watch and pick, feel free to do that as well. Most of the information we're talking about is stuff that they publish on the official Instagram account. So you can not spoil yourself and find a lot of this. Um,
Yeah.
but that's really, really top to bottom how you want to do fantasy. We're going to do another show in a couple minutes here, but it won't post tonight. We'll post it a little bit later on in the weekend to protect our picks as much as possible. Where we're going to break down season long. We're going to go through the setup for it, the scoring for it. So look for that in your feed. We've also launched this as an audio podcast. We know that 2 hours is way too long for some of you, so this one came in at just about an hour. We're going to try to keep them a little bit shorter like this. But any feedback anyone has, feel free to drop in the comments or to send to one of us. And yeah, we're just kind of seeing where it goes. So no lofty views or anything. I hope everyone can sit through an hour of a week two preview. Good luck on your fantasy setups, and hopefully we get to see some drama for week two. Catch you guys soon.